What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Quant QNT USD today. This one comes to us at the request of Mr. Racecar. Racecar, we're doing this one for you, my man. For anybody that wants to do a request, just leave it in the comments. I will see it. I do read through every single comment, even the hateful ones. You know who you are. No, man, I don't care. You know, you can love it or hate it, whatever. I think it's funny. Some of the negative comments that I get, and then some people, man, you guys get so pissed off. I'm not trying to have a fight with people over the internet who I don't know, but you know, if you want to be a dick to me, I'll be a dick back. But I more or less try to keep it civil. Like, you know, I don't try to, if it seems like I'm coming at you with an aggressive tone over the comments, if what you said was aggressive, then maybe. But you know, most of the time I try to just kind of keep it factually based and not take it to a personal level, right? We're trying to discuss price action here. Let's keep it factually based so we don't have to get personal. Even if you get personal, I most of the time just think that shit's funny. But you know, speaking of which, I was actually talking to someone, or we had a comment thing going back and forth, talking about how this quant move has broken out of a 9-month downtrend, is what he was saying. I forget who it was that said that, but a 9-month downtrend. And I don't see it. You know, if we look at the, like using our eyes, our seeing eyeballs, doing technical analysis here, you can see that, I mean, we've got a high here going all the way back into October of 2022, basically a year away. And we've had lower lows and lower highs since. This, I mean, did it break out of this right here from top to top? Sure, it broke out of that little thing right there. Okay. But like, what'd you break out of? Did you break out of this from top to top? Well, you broke out of that already. Maybe it was this top to top over here. Nope, you already broke out of that too, like long, you know, like all the way back here, but not really, right? These, I don't think these are actually lines that you're respecting at all, so who really cares? Really what's going on here is with this move, you have another lower high in a series of lower highs that dates back all the way to October, and I mean arguably even further than that. But I would say I don't think you've been in a downtrend. I think this downtrend ended over here, and now you're in a different downtrend, right? Who knows? If you go lower than this low, then you are very much still in this same downtrend, but I don't expect that. But let's look a little bit more in depth with this thing, right? I don't want to just randomly say, hey, you still have a lower high. Like, I want to give validity as to why I think that you have not broken out of this downtrend, and why you likely will give most of this move, if not all of it, and then some back. Let's get into that. Okay, so looking at the daily here, or maybe it's the 4-hour. Yeah, the 4-hour really illuminates this. This is on Coinbase, so you can trust the volume, right? You've got this whole move up. And for those of you that have been watching the channel, you know what I'm going to go for right now, right? You've got decreasing volume. The whole time that you're moving up, you have decreasing volume. That's not a good sign, right? That means you're being pumped up, but there's less interest coming in. This kind of indicator, this kind of like situation that you're in right now does not normally spell good things for the price. I would expect at least like a sizable pullback from here that would lead you to the 618 or 69, but probably even into your extensions down here. But to the 618 to the 69 would take you back to around the $90 level. We're somewhere at 107 right now. But I want to go through and back to the daily and point something out here, adding more kind of legitimacy, or maybe validating the point that we might be going lower other than the things that I've discussed already. So looking at this thing right here, if we put a line, a little horizontal line right here, and let's assume we go up more. You know, maybe we go up more. This line could move up a little bit more, whatever. It's okay. If we zoom out and we look at literally every day that this thing has been in the overbought zone at this level or higher in its whole history on this chart, we've had one time here, 2, 3, arguably 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times total, okay? So 5 other times besides this one. Let's just see what price has done each of those times, okay? So this time back here, this happened right here, and we actually did go higher, and then inevitably gave all of that move back and then some. We gave, you know, we gave all of it back and then some. And you know, someone might have thought, oh, this is the end of the downtrend here, we broke out, but really I think this was just the beginning. This was ultimately a lower high, and it just was the beginning of this downtrend over here. And again, this was like basically at the exact same level. But to be fair, we did climb a little bit higher. But before we did that, we had a drop from top to bottom that was about 13.6%. So even if you're not on board with the idea that we're going to go below these lows here, which I definitely do think we're going to, I shouldn't say definitely, but with a high to certain degree of certainty, I do believe that we're going to go lower than these lows. But if you're not on board with that, at least be on board with some kind of a pullback from here, right? We are very overbought in the RSI, you know, it's very common to pull back from here. So that was that move, right there. Next time that we were over here, it was up here. It was actually the very top, and we had an abysmal move. We gave back that whole run, right? Literally like the whole run. And we didn't go lower immediately, but over time we did, right? I don't think that, you know, I think that if we were to go low like this and we formed a higher low, I don't think we'd go lower over time with this move because we're just so close to the bull market right now that I think that if we were to give most of the move back, form a higher low, we're probably going to go on to form higher highs. It wouldn't be a situation like this where we continue to bleed out over time. That's my opinion. But looking at this over here again, right here, kind of near the top, right? Actually, if we took the top to the low there, that was a 31, almost a 32% move. You did continue to go higher, but a 32% move from here, right? Well, that would be below these lows already. That's a 31% move. So that would be below $75 if we were to do a similar thing. Very close to the RSI to where we are now, right? Very, very close. Even actually, I would say stronger. We had a bounce. We were in the overbought zone longer. This is a stronger move, and we still had a bigger pullback. And if you look at the price itself, very close, right? This dashed line, this dashed red line right here is where the price is now. We are very close to the same area. May we have a similar reaction as we have in the past? Similar readings, similar price area, who knows, perhaps. Overall lower high. This was on a higher high too, and we had a bearish reaction. Here, right here, this one didn't quite touch it, but let's count it. Okay, yeah, that one was terrible, but that was toward the end of the bear market. I don't think we're in similar market conditions, so I'm not going to measure that one. Here we are at the top here. We did, again, continue to go higher, but first we had a drop that was from top. Is that, yeah, that's that day, and then this day. That was a 29% drop, close to 30% again. The first one was 32, the next one was 29. Here on this one, we were actually at the top this time. I mean, maybe technically the first time we hit the line we were here, and then from there to there we had a 26% drop. Top to bottom here, like relative low, we had a 27, 28% drop. So at a minimum so far what we've seen is a 25% drop, which guess what? A 25% drop would still take you, that's almost a 26% drop. Let's get it closer. A 24% drop would still take you lower than these lows. So from what we've seen, you know, this could be, there are always exceptions, right? This could be different, right? This time could be different. Maybe it is a higher low, but at least somewhat of a sizable pullback, okay? Something that's more or less sizable. This one here, it went up afterwards. We still had a 13% move down and then ultimately bled. We gave like all of it back. If we saw a move like this, we have a higher low like this, I would expect that instead of bleeding down, we probably would end up going higher than that high, than this high here. But again, at the moment, guys, I think this is a fairly reasonable area to take profits, or at least not FOMO in. If you want to avoid FOMOing in at the top, you don't want to be one of the people, because every single price action you read here, somebody bought at the top, somebody sold at the top, somebody bought this top, somebody bought this top, someone bought all these tops, this top, that top. Don't be the person that buys this top, okay? If you don't want to sell, okay, cool, whatever. HODL, if it goes down and it's an opportunity to buy more, cash in on that, man, you know, but whatever. I do think it's a relatively fair place to take profits if you have any. But we also have bearish divergence on the 4 hour. We've been very overbought for a while. It makes sense that you would see some kind of cool off. Even a moderate cool off, again, would take you somewhere around $90 at least, okay? Because the one that we saw was like 13%, something like that. A 13% move would be about $95, a little bit below $95 actually. So here we are at 107, definitely potential to drop more than $10. I think even more than $25 from here. Where I would expect this thing to go actually before it finally stops, you know, when it's getting ready to actually break out of this trend, we're going to do one of two things. Either form a low that's lower than this, get some bullish divergence on your RSI, or like get into your oversold zone, whatever, or we will form a higher low, or I said one of two things, but maybe one of three things, or we will form a double bottom, right? One of those three things. So if we were to form a higher low, the first place that I would look, I mean, to be fair, to be completely fair, the first place I'd look would be $98. But that would be a very like short, a very small drop compared to anything that we've seen so far. So I'm going to throw that out. Okay, if it's not the 382, then automatically I look at the 618, which is all the way down to $92 to $90, and that would make sense to me if we found a low down there, right? Previous area of support, kind of in this area, support over here on a closing basis, right at that 618, like literally goes all the way back to there. support more in this area. You know, that little bit of resistance in this area too. So it would make sense to find a low here. That would be my kind of like, I guess technically the best case scenario would be the 382, but realistically probably the 618 to 69 around $90 to $93, something like that. But what I'm expecting is at least this 1272, if not the 1618, something like that. You know, a 30. We were seeing like a 26 to, or what was it, 25% drop. If you were to drop here 25%, I would expect that you would at least go to your 1272. And that's a 29% drop. We've seen that, right? We've seen the 32% drop, which would take you to your 1414. If you were to go to your 1618, have a little bit bigger of a drop, okay, cool. That would make sense too, because again, this move is not backed by anything. There's no volume, right? What are you doing? There's no volume. It's a little bit above average, but relatively, like for this move, it looks like any of these candles over here, but no volume. Like, where is it? You know, let's go. Actually, you know, before I keep saying that, let's just see on Binance. Yeah, no volume. Same thing, declining volume, and it actually dropped off even more here at this top. It looks even worse on this chart, in my opinion, for looking at the volume. But QNT USD on Coinbase, the reason I use the USDT chart just there is because it has the most volume in all of crypto, so the volume readings might be a little bit more accurate. You know, sometimes you see disparities in Coinbase versus Binance. Little trick to the trade there. But guys, if you're feeling the FOMO up here, please allow me to be the voice of reason or madness, however it seems to you. Just look at what it is, right? It was a nice move up. It was a really, let's call it what it is. It was a really nice move up from bottom to top, 31% in the course of 2 weeks. Beautiful, great, good job. Take your profits, because all it is, and this isn't financial advice, right? I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who has decent opinions. From this high to this high, they're all lower highs. This is no exception. It's just another lower high. What have we done each time we've set a lower high? We've gone down to find lower lows, right? And if anything, we're kind of back testing an area that we found support in for a while. Let's see how this week closes. I bet you're going to be lower than this, man. It wouldn't surprise me if you actually closed this week somewhere around here, around $100 itself, actually. The $100 level, again, is a psychological level in itself. And I've got one more thing in the bag to kind of suggest that we might be at a topping point. If everything else isn't enough, one more thing. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green days in a row. If anybody's familiar with the TD sequential, if you're not familiar with it, T as in like TD, right? If you know sign language, TD, that is a very common area to reverse as well. But even if you don't know anything about the TD sequential, 7 days green in a row, you're overdue for some downside, right? Look, I mean, the last time that you had this many days in a row, you had 5 over here turned around. You didn't 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. You didn't even make it to 7. Like, it's been a while. It might be the only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. Okay, 7 here, and you did build up higher afterwards, but you still had a 12% drop from your top. Okay, we're still very, and you did go higher. Maybe that happens. Maybe I'm wrong on my overall lower call. I personally don't think I will be. I do think that we're going to go lower in these prices. But if I am wrong, cool. You know, you can rub it in my face after you wait patiently to buy back at this purple line, an area that you found support on before, found resistance, 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 disrespect, a little bit of disrespect here, found support on it here, resistance, right? It's a line that you support, you find respect on it, resistance there. So at a minimum, maybe wait till we react to this purple line positively before you go all gung-ho and FOMO into this thing. But I really do expect that we're going to see lower lows. I have no vendetta against Quant. I would love it, you guys. I'd love it if it just kept going up and everybody made a bunch of money on this thing, but that's not how it works. Things don't move in straight lines, especially when their volume looks this diminished, man. It's not good for continuation. And you're showing bearish divergence to top it off. Your 1 hour doesn't look any better. Anyways, that's all I got for you. We have definitely not broken out of this trend. I know it might seem like it, right? If you are looking at it in a way that like is cherry picking, like if you want to like cherry pick it, okay, we've broken out of this trend, but like you've got 1 touch point here, 2 touch points really. That's not in my opinion a very valid line to go off of. Okay, 2 touch points there even. You want to go from this top here to that one there. Why not count all this stuff in between? Like that wouldn't make sense to me either. Like, you know, so like it's not respecting any of these lines. I personally don't like using diagonal lines for that reason, because however you cut it, you can make it work. If you want to be a cookie cutter, you can just like do it in your own way. Maybe May. No, that wouldn't be 9 months still. Anyways, I think we're going lower, guys. If not below these lows, at least something that's going to be greater than a 10% move to the downside. But I really do think we're going to see prices below $80. The ultimate price target that I'm looking for from top to bottom here, or bottom to top, would be anywhere from about $77 to $70. And I really do think it'd be closer to that $77 to $75 area. With a decent chance, there's still a very decent chance to bottom around 90 to 92. It's not what I'm calling for at the moment, though. I guess before I go, I can do one more thing. I'm just curious. So let's do this. Bottom to top here. You're not really in the middle anywhere. You came close to your 618. You don't have to go there. But your 618 is right there at $78, man. What else is right there at $78? At 1272. The minimum extension that is expected to be reached. Yeah. Ooh, I wonder too, you know, just let me just see real quick. No, nothing really to go off of. You're at your 2414, but whatever. Anyways, that's off of a very like weird kind of way to draw your fib anyway, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Maybe it's respected, maybe it's not. But that's all I got for you guys. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. If you guys have any coins, anything that you want to talk about, please leave it in the comments below. I'll leave a link to the description, or I'll leave a link in the description for Discord if you'd like to leave some requests there as well. Thank you all for coming, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.